What's going on, everybody? Hello and welcome to this last special edition for the Mandalorian show episode of What We Talk About. Of course, it is me, Aaron T. Montgomery. And today I'll give those honors of the middle name to Donnie. Donnie, talk to me.
Yes, and my name is Donovan L. Woods. The L stands for Let's Get It. I've been working on that all day. How was that? Was that good? No?
No, that was awful.
Okay.
That was awful.
All
right. Donnie, because this was the finale to the second season, I wanted to bring in somebody who has probably more love than the both of us for the show or for the universe. My good friend from down here in Austin, Texas, Glenn Bowers. Glenn, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Glenn.
I feel like the long-time listener, first-time caller.
Something like that. So what we're going to do, we love the show, so we want to briefly go through it. Any highlights from the season, things that stood out to you, and obviously we'll spend a lot of time on that final episode. So Glenn, coming into this season, of course, we love the first season, but coming into this season, did you have high hopes for where the show was going to take us?
I had high hopes. I think that's a good way of putting it. I try to, with anything I love a lot, I try to keep measured expectations. So I think my main thing was maintaining that level of consistency in the writing and the acting and the whole crew. I watched the making of videos that's available, and
nice.
That gave me a lot of confidence in the crew. Like they have a clear vision about what they want the show to be, and so
right.
Donnie,
how about you?
For our audience, let me just ask, because I don't know, and for the audience, this is my first time meeting Glenn as well. You don't have to give us your specific age, but just so I get an idea of the history you have. Are you over 40, under 40?
I'm under 40, but not by much.
Okay, that'll work. So you definitely are a long-time Star Wars fan. So so we are all in this together. What was your question, Aaron?
Same question that I asked Glenn. Did you come into this season expecting more than last season, or the same?
I expected a drop-off, just because that's what happens, right? Good show. We're excited about it. I think back to the other show I'm probably just as excited about, which is This Is Us. And it has its moments where it definitely dips and it saves itself towards the end. But Mandalorian somehow, I don't know if it's just the length of the episodes, it doesn't lend itself to really have any drop-offs. And I feel like what do you call those at the end of an episode? Not nail biter, but the reason to come cliffhangers aren't so ridiculous where, you're like, well, something's going to have to happen drastic. I feel like it's a good continuous story at a good pace. And whereas, sorry for the long answer, but whereas Clone Wars, the cartoon, I'll be honest, the first several episodes, even though it featured Anakin and the Bad Batch, didn't excite me, but I held on. And then the Ahsoka line was kind of really boring, but the ending just made up for it. Whereas Mandalorian was solid all the way through.
Now, Glenn mentioned it. Donnie, did you watch the kind of behind the scenes of the making of The Mandalorian last year?
Only after you, and I want to say Randy, recommended it, and you told me so much about it. I have not gone back. I was just, you're wrong. Aaron, remember I watched that one episode about Filoni kind of giving some background, and I said, hey,
about the Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, you should watch this. And you told me, welcome to 2019. So, yeah.
All right. Because I feel like really that kind of gave us, or at least gave me, y'all can agree or disagree, it gave me a lot of hope for where the universe is going to head now, like what Disney's going to do with it, because you saw not just one person or two people, even though Dave Filoni is obviously him and Favreau are leading everything, but you had a whole table of directors that seemed to be on the same page, number one, and all have the same amount of love for the Star Wars story. So that gave me a lot of hope moving forward into the second season, seeing that personally.
Can I ask, Glenn, where do you stand on, because they say it was a divided universe after episode 8. I'm curious, where did you stand on The Last Jedi?
Uh-oh. Either you're going to lose a podcast member or he's going to get enshrined. I don't know what's going to happen next. Okay. I personally, I liked The Last Jedi. Now,
Okay.
that said, I understand why people have problems with it, because most of my friends did not like it. So I do think there's fair criticism to be made of the film, but I think that some criticism stems from maybe expectations not being met or subverted in a way that probably wasn't needed to happen. So that's my political answer to that. So
that's fair. That's fair. Because I think when you say something not being met, expectations not being met, I think that's what this did for me. Mandalorian met those expectations with the last episode, giving me what we wanted. Seeing, I can spoil it now, seeing Luke Skywalker, that's what I wanted to see in The Last Jedi. And I think that was my issue. And seeing little Mary Poppins, Princess Leia didn't really work for me, but I'm not going to, that's not this discussion. We're going to have you back for that discussion.
okay.
I will say that obviously, Glenn, you know me and you disagree on The Last Jedi, but I think one thing we can agree on is the cameos that came into play this season were outstanding. Like before the season started, did you hear that Ahsoka was going to be in this season?
That was the one spoiler I allowed myself, and I was very excited about that.
Got you. So, but in addition to that, we were given Bo-Katan, we were given Boba Fett, we were given Luke at the end of it all. Like, so to me, the most glorious thing that they did this season, besides, put live action Luke Skywalker into play, was to keep under wraps these characters coming in to where I didn't hear anything about it. And I don't go searching for spoilers, but sometimes they come your way anyway. And am I the only one that heard nothing about those other characters outside of Ahsoka?
No. Go ahead, Glenn.
So there's two Reddits I do like to frequent, and they're getting free publicity now, and that's Star Wars Cantina, and I do go to Star Wars Leaks. So, but when it comes to Star Wars, I'm very particular. I generally don't like to be spoiled on anything. But the Ahsoka stuff was like shotgunned all over the internet. So, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett. I was probably the longest holdout that was Rex, not Boba Fett.
Right.
And then I said, okay, it's probably gonna be Boba. He has no beard, so.
Right.
Yeah.
That I don't look for spoilers. I only follow the one YouTube channel, which is Star Wars Theory, and he throws a lot of things out there, and some of the guys that aren't as good as him throw stuff that's really crazy. So I kind of just go ignore it and want to be surprised. I'll say this year, and I don't know if it's just my life is busier, but even with COVID going on, my life is busier, but it didn't seem as painful to wait every Friday to watch the show. And I hate to admit this, but I think I like the show better because I had to wait. Stranger Things, I want to talk about other shows, but other things I've watched that are, you can just download the whole thing. Maybe I do kind of devour it and don't appreciate it. Whereas I feel like I did appreciate this, and the reveals each week made me anticipate what could possibly happen each episode.
Yeah. He's on the fence of I want to see it when I want to see it. Don't spoon feed it to me. Just give it to me on.
No patience.
So I agree with them, and that's the only way in this world that you're going to keep subscribers. Because immediately, as soon as you finish the season, what do you do, Donnie?
Typically, I get rid of it
immediately. You cancel that subscription. So you're trying to keep viewership here. So that they're doing a good job with that. But back to the series. So we saw a lot of callbacks to other movies throughout this season, especially Aliens in the I think it was episode 2 where they had the spiders, they had the face hugger type thing going on. I think that might have been the episode before that or after that. But in any case, let's get to what we want to talk about, because Donnie, me and you have done mid-season review, early season review. So let's get to that final episode. The season finale was, for me, everything that I could have wanted it to be and more. because we got our boy, we got Luke Skywalker back. So Glenn, when you saw that, I actually texted you in the morning and told you to wake up and watch. So how did you feel when you saw that reveal?
Yeah, I got a text message in all caps. It's the only time Aaron's ever shouted at me through text, so I knew I had to get it in high gear. So I figured something big happened, and we watched it that morning during breakfast. So
wait, you say we?
My wife and I. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, your wife watches it with you?
Yeah, she's a huge Ahsoka fan.
Okay, I need
whole
to have
other,
some.
whole other,
He's
whole
so
other
jealous.
podcast. So my reaction. This is anecdotal, but I literally the minute the X-wing showed up, I knew it was Luke, and my heart just started pounding, like it was gonna jump right out of my chest, and I got emotional. I got verklempt, as they say. You know, I got a lump in my throat, and I was like getting the man tears, you know. And I actually was holding my wife like super like just kind of squeezing her almost, and she was like, "Honey, you're hurting me." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, it blew it. I never thought they would do it, and they did it, and they did it well. And and it was.
I cannot agree with you more. I wish I had someone to watch it with. My brother lives with us. What happened? Oh, sorry. So I think the part that got me, Glenn, was I couldn't go to sleep, which I typically don't sleep much at all anyway. But this night I'm purposely staying up to watch this at 3 a.m. I don't want any spoilers. I want nothing, because earlier in the season, Aaron or my brother would text me midday like, "Oh, you got to see it." I'm like, "Oh." So I stayed up. I watched it. Get this, 6 minutes in, my internet went out. So I'm like,
Oh, no.
what's happening? I'm rebooting my everything. So finally I get it back. It took about 10 minutes. I'm panicking, and then, went straight through. And I actually texted my brother and Aaron, even though they weren't going to be up. It was 3:00 a.m. Eastern. I texted them like, "Man, the Dark Troopers make this episode great."
Oh, yeah.
Because initially they're the highlight. I'm like, "Man, these guys are way better than I anticipated." And then, like you said, as soon as you see how great these Dark Troopers are, you're like, they can't take care of all these by themselves. Right. And when they came back, I'm like, okay, something's got to come. And I'm thinking Ahsoka. But it was the singular X-Wing. I'm going, it's got to be him. It's got to be him. And then the way he's walking through was so reminiscent of Anakin in any scene, whether it's Clone Wars, the cartoon, or the movies. I'm thinking particularly like the scene where he walks into the end of Revenge of the Sith, when he's walking into the Separatist, and he's just kind of just expert, blocking things from behind, doing all these things. And then the little force crush there with the robot, I'm like, this is the Luke Skywalker that I wanted when I was a little kid, and they didn't have the technology to do. This is the Luke I kind of wanted in Revenge of this, or what is it called? Last Jedi. And they did it. So let me ask you this, Glenn. When it came up to the reveal, the face reveal, I think the guy we kept hearing may play Luke is Sebastian, what's his name, that plays Bucky from the Avengers, or the Winter Soldier. Were you satisfied with the CGI?
Yeah, it's funny because I was anticipating it being Sebastian, and it wasn't. It was the deep fake, and I was satisfied with it. I figured.
Okay, can you explain that, what that means? Because a lot of people will watch and just not know what that means.
The premise of a deep fake is, gosh, I'm on the spot. I I know it when I see it. Basically, yeah.
Yep. Yes.
And of course, the idea is to get someone that looks fairly close to who you're wanting to mask, so that the things sort of line up and there's not too much incongruity. Yeah. Right. So it's just a digital computer trick. But yeah, I thought it was interesting they did that, because I felt like if we in those nanoseconds in my head, I thought, okay, if it's Sebastian, this means we're going to see more Luke, maybe even in other shows. But when it wasn't him, I thought, so maybe this is our little kind of here you go. Here's your cookie, and maybe that's it. But I don't know.
Well, they can't just do it once. Like once they've given them to us, they can't like take it away immediately. Like already, of course, the rumor mill is spinning that they're already in works on a Luke Skywalker series. So we never know. But I for one believe we'll definitely see more of him going forward.
Regardless, they are building a platform or a world universe very similar to what Avengers did with their movies, and they've kind of, by the end of it, you get which I didn't see until later in the day, after I didn't even know it was there, the after credits with Boba Fett and the book of Boba Fett. They've got the underworld now. They have a show about that. They're going to have Ahsoka on this mission, probably to find Ezra and Thrawn. You've got this Luke Skywalker out there training Jedi. You're kind of going in the past a little bit with, what's the other storyline? I forget. But you got maybe Din Djarin goes back to Mandalore, and that's a whole series of how they do that. So we've kind of fleshed the entire universe out. And it makes me appreciate these last three movies. Not that they are good, but at least the premise for the stories, how the Empire comes back, is believable. Because they really never went away. They just kind of, and I told Aaron this in another episode, other shows or other movies, especially sci-fi, you kill the mothership, everything else dies. Whereas this is truly built as it's a government. And you just because you killed the Emperor doesn't mean that his generals and all the other guys are going to just fall apart. They literally just went into hiding. They became the rebels, as it were. But if people watch Star Wars, they'll realize it can kind of go on forever because it's more than just about the Jedi. It's truly a political / religious / terrorist. It's got all these elements of the real society. And that's why the true fans can get into it. And I think they did a great job of making it lovable for everything. And you mentioned this, Aaron. They did something that they couldn't do in a movie. They made me emotional for Grogu leaving the show, at least for now. And I kind of was like, and then they got me when R2 comes around the corner. I definitely got teary-eyed. In fact, there were tears shed. So they did a great job of that. You can't do that with a 2-hour movie.
No.
Nah, I appreciate the series. So the way that they're using the series to kind of rebuild or reestablish the fan base, at least make them care again, because there are those that would have cared no matter what. There are those that will care much less moving forward if not for this series. And now, that they have announced all these other spinoff series, it gives you a lot to look forward to. And I, like most fans, Friday afternoon, we're just singing the praises of Favreau and Filoni, and just, some were thanking the Lord above for them sending them to save Star Wars. They take it a little bit too far, but I know the sentiment is the same.
How did you, the idea that, like you said, it brought everything back we wanted. And I think, Glenn, you're like, it might be Luke. It won't be Luke. Oh, it is Luke. The idea that now they've even planted the seed that Hayden Christensen is coming back in the Obi-Wan series to do what we all also always wanted to see, was more Darth Vader, more Hayden Christensen post Revenge of the Sith before, the other movies take off. And we're going to get that. We're going to see possibly an interaction between Obi and Darth Vader. So that is a series I'm truly waiting for the most, even more than Ahsoka, is the Obi-Wan series. So I think that'll be, when does that start filming? Do you know?
I read that
I don't.
Early into 2021 they should start on Obi-Wan.
Okay.
So that's the latest rumor.
Well, if they get Tom Cruise over there, he can make sure that no one gets COVID, and it will get done. Because Tom Cruise, TC, yes, that's my guy.
Boy, yelling at everybody. So Glenn, if they start filming, let's say first quarter next year, is that something that they can have done by the fall, or when do you think it's going to come out for us to view if they start filming February, March?
We're talking strictly Obi-Wan, right? Okay.
Yes.
I think the earliest would probably be at the end of 2021. Just going by how they film, they're going to film it like they filmed Mandalorian, right? Using the LCD and everything. And I think that does a lot to help speed the production along. So I think earliest we could get it then, but being the pragmatist, I probably would expect probably early 2022 is probably more realistic.
So they've already said that the Book of Boba Fett is going to come out in December. The Mandalorian season 3 is also supposed to drop in December. So, you know, we'll have the Bad Batch series coming out next month, I believe. And then
Marvel. They're filling it up with Marvel.
Then it'll be all Marvel until the end of the year.
Eventually.
Marvel needs to get busy. I'll tell you that. But
again, all these conversations this is why we created this, is because we have these side conversations. They took the pages of Marvel and brought it back to Star Wars and made it right. Like, tell a story. Don't be afraid to put it on television. Whereas the Marvel television shows, first series, like Agent Carter, that kind of stuff, Star Wars perfected it. Now you can bring Marvel back into that slot. They're going to be better. And hopefully that translates to better movies in the future for at least the Star Wars franchise. But hey, I if they never do anything else, when I was a kid, I used to always say, I'm going to put this on record, maybe I can see the next Star Wars movie before the new system. Anyway, that's the things I used to say. Now I don't necessarily want that, but I've seen Luke Skywalker again. It's been since 1983. I'm satisfied. They really can't mess it up at this point. Favreau is forever in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Famer in my book. Yeah,
just to build on that,
right.
I read an interview in Variety and recently, and they were talking about what we're talking about right now, about the interconnectivity of the shows, and Favreau, brought that over with him from Marvel. And I know Feige gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so, but Favreau was also, he was there at the ground level when they were building that, so I think he brought what he learned there over, and I think pairing Favreau with Filoni, it's almost like you get both sides of George without some of George's idiosyncrasies. And I love George. I love the flanneled one as much as the next guy, but
the flanneled one.
I think with them we get kind of best of both worlds when it comes to George, because Lucas is quite the business guy. For being such a Hollywood rebel director, he's actually quite the shrewd show businessman too. So I think that's why things have been going so smoothly, at least with these guys, in this production. So it's just my take.
That's no one said that. And I think you're spot on, because Favreau, he dropped Iron Man. That was him, right? The initial first. Okay. So
that was it.
He's very good at foundations, but I think as much of a fan as he is, Filoni's fandom and his idolatry almost for George Lucas is what the franchise needed, to be respected and to know how the fans felt. But you have the order of Favreau keeping it together. Whereas, unfortunately, I hate to say her name, but Kathleen Kennedy, bless her heart, she's been a part of a lot of projects. I won't poop on her now. I'll just say her mistake with the movies was finding a director in JJ who was good, but not good at closing, and splitting it up with another director, with Rian Johnson, who didn't necessarily like Star Wars. And I think that for this franchise, it deserved someone that respected all levels of it. And that was her failure, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So love what they're doing. Just keep doing it. And as long as we're here, we'll watch it. The next season, I don't even know where they're going to go with the story, or what they could possibly do with the story. We'll probably do an episode about what we expect on the upcoming season a little time later. But enjoyed talking with some fellow Star Wars lovers. Glenn, thank you for joining us and brightening us with your insight.
Thank you for having me.
He started off this episode saying how great you were and how you're a fan. I'm like, okay, whatever. But you definitely had some deep insight that made me kind of. Can I get your phone number? Like, can I call you?
Yeah, just all right. I'm a fan. Not on the internet.
He's married.
I'll send it to you on the side.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Appreciate that.
All right, Donnie.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming out.
For having me.
Thanks for joining us. If you subscribe, so you know when the latest episodes are up, and see you next week.
There we go. Thanks, guys.